Hello dear students, welcome once again to online video lectures. Today we'll start Kheda Satyagrah. We have completed the Champaran Satyagrah in the previous video, and let us begin with Kheda Satyagrah. Let us zoom it for a little bit so that you can see it clearly. In Kheda district of Gujarat, it experienced a famine in the year 1917. So there was a big famine. Famine is a natural calamity when there is lack of rainfall, or we will say no rainfall for nearly 2 to 3 years. The water level in the ground goes down, and all the wells, lakes, ponds they dry off, and people die for the food because the agricultural process stops. So that type of condition is known as famine. It happened in Gujarat in the year 1917. The agriculture production was completely destroyed. But British, as per their habit, they were still taking the taxes from the Indian farmers, and it was a big problem for the Indian peoples because they were not able to pay the taxes. So they came to Gandhiji and said that we are having lot of problems regarding the taxes which are being levied by the Britishers. Gandhiji said to the farmers that they should not pay the tax until the government accepts their demand. So, meanwhile, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel quit his practice as a lawyer, and he marked his protest against the Britishers and joined the team of Gandhiji. So, Gandhiji wrote a letter to the collector that if the tax of poor farmers was waived, then the richer farmers will be paying their regular taxes. In this way, they will be taking the taxes also, and they can keep an eye on the poor farmers also. So in the end, the collector passed an order in the same, and in 1918, the movement was becoming successful. So the Kheda Satyagraha, it did not give much result, but it became very important because the principles on the basis of which it was fought. It was going on for 1 year, near about 1 year. The farmers were very aware, they became fearless and courageous. And the most important thing was we got one more leader every time devoted and committed like Gandhiji, and he was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So after the completion of Kheda Satyagraha in 1918, let us move to 1919, in which the Rowlatt Act was launched by the Britishers, and we did a satyagraha which is known as Rowlatt Satyagraha. Let us see what is given here. England was victorious in the First World War, and in the same time, the Rowlatt Act was implemented by the Britishers to take control with the public unrest and control the anti-colonial activities. So Britishers wanted to control the Indian peoples because they were protesting against the Britishers in a very big manner. All the peoples who were living in India wanted the Britishers to go away from their country. So they passed an act which was known as Rowlatt Act, and it said that all the people who are exercising, and they can be arrested by the Britishers without producing them in front of the judge. It means that the Rowlatt Act authorized the government to exercise stricter control on the press, arrest without warrant, and indefinite detention in jail without trial. Trial means they will be not brought in front of the judge. The accused was denied the right to know the accuser and the evidence used in the trial against them. This act was complete violation of the fundamental rights and the freedom of expression and speech. So Gandhiji was against it, and he protested against this act, and he also called it as a Black Act. So dear students, the Rowlatt Act was launched in order to suppress the Indian freedom fighters. In order to control the Indian freedom fighters, the Britishers brought the Rowlatt Act, which gave them freedom to arrest the Indians without making them to know about the punishment which they are getting for the wrong which they have committed. Without telling the wrong deeds which they have committed, they were directly sent to the jail. So Gandhiji said that this is not good. It's a violation of the fundamental right, and I will declare that this is a Black Act. So the Satyagraha began, and rallies were organized and strikes were called out against the Britishers in all over the country. So the British tried to suppress this movement. So in 1990, there was a meeting which was held in Jallianwala Bagh on 30th March and 6th April 1919. The condition of Amritsar was almost out of control, and looking at this, martial law was declared in Amritsar. Martial law means the people were not allowed to gather in a single place. But a meeting was held on 13th April, on the day of Baisakhi, in Jallianwala Bagh, to pay tribute to the martyrs and also to protest against the arrest of Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kishlu. These two were the freedom fighters, and they were protesting against the Britishers. The Britishers arrested them, and they were put in the jail. The supporters of Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kishlu, they were on the protest in the Jallianwala Bagh, and they wanted to pay tribute to the martyrs also, and to protest against the arrest of Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kishlu. So nearly there were 10,000 peoples in this meeting when General Dyer came and blocked the only exit of the Bagh, and he ordered to fire on the unarmed people. In this firing, nearly 379 people died and 1200 were injured. This was the number given by the official record of the Britishers, but we know that the casualties were more than 379 deaths and 1200 injured. Gandhiji completely lost his faith in the Britishers, and he said that Britishers are not to be such a kind of person on which we should keep our faith. They are always doing injustice, and they are unfair to the Indians. You can see the Jallianwala Bagh. It is having walls of great height. Peoples were not able to jump from this wall. They tried to jump from this wall, but they were not able to jump. And the people who are standing here in this picture, they are pointing at the places where the bullets were fired, and the marks are still left behind. If you people will get chance to visit these places, you should surely go and see these ancient places. Then let us see the next part of the lesson, Khilafat movement. So after attaining victory in the First World War, the Allied nations, they signed a treaty with Turkey, and Turkey was on the defeating side, means Turkey had lost the war, and the terms and condition which was made in this treaty was very strict, and it was unjust. The Sultan of Turkey was a religious head of Islam too, and according to this treaty, he was to be terminated, means he must leave his place. Now he will be not as a king of these persons. So the Muslims all over the world, including India, started protesting in the favor of Khalifa. And in India, this movement was known as Khilafat movement. Maulana Shaukat Ali and Maulana Abdul Ali, they were the main leaders. They were the brothers, Ali brothers. They were known as Ali brothers. They were the main leaders of the Khilafat movement. Gandhiji also supported this Khilafat movement, and he said to the Muslims to join this protest, and he was against the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. His intention was to demand Swaraj with the combined power of Hindus and Muslim communities. So after this, we will take the non-cooperation movement in the next video. For today, you have to learn about the Khilafat movement and the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and Rowlatt Act. This all will be there for today, and we will continue with the non-cooperation movement in the next video. Thanks a lot for now.